Operation status quo. Operation status quo. Prepare to engage. Operation status quo. Ready to engage. Operation status quo. Engaged. Engaged. Oh, hello. Did I hit the button? I was looking over here and then I saw myself there. I'm like, oh, I hit the button. The dexterity. It's all about the dexterity, and the agility of your fingertips. I don't know what the hell I'm saying. I have to get myself going here when I first come on live. Hello, and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. What a pleasure to have you back here once again today. Yes, I am back, and I continue to strive to be here for you 5 days a week and provide some content and a space of love and joy and peace and harmony. Oh, God. Is there really such a place? I don't know. Is there such a place? Somebody tell me. Because I really don't know. I know. Easy. Down, boy. Down, boy. All right. Hey-o. We get a little worked up around here sometimes. This is Operation Status Quo. I'm Pete Palma, by the way. Hello and welcome. If you haven't been here before, if you have, oh my gosh, what are you doing back? Haven't you had enough? Haven't you suffered enough already? No, but seriously, of course I welcome everyone here, and I'm always happy to be here myself and all that type of thing. So today is, this is Operation Status Quo. That's what I wanted to say. Operation Status Quo, this is the space where we observe the status quo of life. We learn to flow with the status quo of life, and then we create our own flow of quo, because that's the only way to go, and that's what we do here on Operation Status Quo. I got to be more mindful of trying to sit still, okay? Because I do notice when I watch back some of these episodes, I'm always kind of like bouncing my legs around, and I'm kind of just always like I get excited and I'm talking, and I'm a very high energy person. I apologize. If you met me in person, I'm very easy to talk to. I'm calm in general. I think I am. I always forget. I speak quickly. Even when I meet with people and stuff, sometimes I forget, I don't want to say overpowering, but my energy, I guess it can be to those that are a little more of a timid type of personality. I guess I can seem sometimes a little rambunctious, but really, I have good love in my heart, and, it's all about connecting, and that's what we do here on Operation Status Quo. And I apologize that I'm a little distracted because my cat decided to finally wake up for a little while and is now darting back and forth across the floor and jumping up on the banister and different things over here. And, I keep getting a little bit distracted. But I'm glad to see he's moving around. I got to give cats credit, man. Like, they can just sleep, like, all day long. And I think I'd like to come back in my next life as a cat. Right there, Miles. What are you doing, buddy? You want to come over here and say hello to the audience? Yo, buddy. What you doing? All right, we're going to let him go. If he wanders over this way, I'll pick him up and put him on camera, and you can see my beautiful little friend. But anyway, today is the 22nd of June in the good year 2023, and today's episode is entitled to be titled. Maybe we can say it that way. There he goes again. Today's episode, the title is "Do You Live True?" I can't believe sometimes I type this stuff and then I forget it 2 seconds later. Do you live true? And basically, again, just a reminder for those who are new here, and if you stuck through this first 4 minutes, God bless you and thank you. If you've done that, you might as well go an extra step further and click subscribe, right? Or maybe drop a comment in the comment box there below, or whatever the case may be. But anyway, yeah, this is a spot like, I always talk about, the world is everything that's going on, and, it's the same blah, blah, blah. The world's been upside down. Well, first of all, let me even say it this way. The world has really been crazy for a very, very long time. And actually probably for all eternity, because it's all one moment and it all goes in cycles. But that's, a little more metaphysical than where I'm heading at this particular moment. But I will say that, I think the world seems so crazy right now and so out of control, mostly because we're finally starting to have realizations and seeing things come out that are showing us of everything that has been going on for, so many years, right? So now that things are being exposed and people are thinking about things in a different way and questioning things in a different way, you see how the whole structure of what was, truthfully, it can't be. Matter of fact, today I was listening to something, and you're talking about these upcoming food shortages. I mean, I don't know, there's always levels of propaganda and fear. I know there's been a lot of trouble with a lot of produce crops and such, just from weather events and obviously the war going on in Ukraine and everything. So, how desperate would it be? Like, how much of a food shortage? I don't know. I'm just trying to say, though, that that's an example of the structures that we're used to, of the convenience of the life that was, how they're kind of fading away. And I always say this, as scary as certain things seem, never to really be alarmed, because what's merely happening is that we're transitioning out of, one system into, what's going to be the next level of how we're going to move forward as a society with, and I believe, and I always say this, with more integrity as far as, care for the planet, care for each other, not so much about acquiring things and this whole competitive capitalistic way. I mean, I guess I'm a communist, right? If I say I don't like capitalism, but all that kind of stuff just drives people apart, really, as opposed to coming together, because everyone thinks they have to have more than somebody else or what they have to get to survive, and it always puts us in a position of not unifying and creating abundance for all of us that we can share together. But that's why our world doesn't want us to know the truths about our how, where we are origins. I'm sorry, I got so many words trying to pop into my head. They don't want us to know the truth of our origins and the truth of, our purpose here and, the higher powers. I'm not talking about the higher powers on the physical world, like our leaders. I'm talking the higher powers that be universally, what they mean, and really how much we can flow with life if we allowed ourselves to, or I don't say allow ourselves to, but if we were aware, enough to do so, the paradigm that we're stuck within would just, fade away, which it is doing, subconsciously in a way. I mean, people are waking up to different truths and realizing different things. And that, again, going back to what I just said, is why we're seeing all these crazy things go on in the world, as far as, what we were used to being so normal, it's basically over, right? So we have to kind of, get ourselves out of the old way and into the new way. But today I wanted to take a moment to kind of say, what are you doing for yourself each day to kind of keep this in mind, to not let things get out of control, as far as mentally, emotionally, spiritually, whatever, the case may be. Everyone has a different life path, a different life story, a different set of circumstances, responsibilities. So it's such a varied, topic. But at the end of it all, whatever the case may be, your family life, your work life, your this life and that life, each day, I feel, and I do this, that it's important to take time for that self-care, and to take space, to give yourself space to reflect on what's going on. And, I guess if you're at home, people tell me this all the time, like, because I don't have kids, oh, it's easy for you and do. And I'm just like, I don't agree with that, because I feel like, even if you have kids, that should be part of the family dynamic. Like, you're teaching your kids the same thing that you're doing for yourself, right? I mean, that's really what parents are supposed to do. So why not create a family dynamic where, everybody in the family has a certain portion of the day where it's their time for their own self-reflection or their own self-care practices, or whatever it is that is for them, that gives that space and that time away from being wrapped up in this, mainstream 3D paradigm that's always dragging us down into the petri dish of shit. I haven't showed the petri dish of shit in a while. I talk about it, but that's my bell. I have a bell here. Well, it's not going to ring but I have a bell. And then if you turn the bell over, that's the petri dish of shit that they keep us in. But so what brought this to mind to even talk about a little bit today was, and I've spoken about my employment, in different episodes. So you can go back and, find some of that. I'm not going to go down a whole road about that per se, but that I've had my thoughts about the work that I've done for the past 15 years is not really work I would choose to do, but, was fortunate enough to have a job that, took care of me well. And it's been a tough call for, I did give up my original job when I moved down here, but I was able to find another position that was similar, and working from home, which I felt would be great. But the truth is, I realized like the same characteristics of what was before, are still instilled in the foundation of what this is as well, because that's just what this kind of work is. It's like it's administrative kind of paperwork, or for those. Again, I've talked about it before, so it's not anything exciting. And but the bottom line is, I was really on the precipice this week of quitting again. I was saying to myself, I just can't do this. I'd rather live off my savings, and I don't want to say I've gotten. Well, I don't want to say I've gotten lazy, because that would be the term that people would use if you don't want to work, right? It's just like basically that you're lazy, but it's not lazy to me. It's like, to me, I feel this whole structure of how people are working is insane. Like, even the people that I work with at this job, some of them they're online. They tell me, oh, I was online till 2 a.m. to get this done. And I'm thinking, who the hell's online 2 a.m. for some document that don't mean anything? I don't know. I just find it very intrusive on peace and harmony. Personally, it's like, I'm not finding much peace. I'm not finding much harmony here, ladies and gentlemen. It's just like my brain every time I gotta go on the computer and do this crap and deal with these people. Won't somebody just please leave me the hell alone? All right, but that's just the way it goes. You got to do your job and get things done. So long story short, or as I like to say now, long story even longer, because I seem to drag everything out. I was going to quit, and then I wound up having a conversation with the big boss over there, and I was able to, because the truth is, I prefer not to quit, right? You want to make a living and a pay, but I was able to have a conversation and explain how I felt about the tasks I was currently on, and what I felt my strengths were for other possible tasks within the organization, and they were open to the idea, and they're, it's in process of, kind of retasking me with some other type of work. And I laughed too, part of it, because I was surprised in a way. I'm going to be 50, and I was raised by my World War II grandparents, and that whole old school thought process of work. Like, I can picture my grandpa, saying, "What's the matter with you? What are you, a bum? What do you care what they tell you to do? You do it, you get your check, and don't question them." He would tell me, it's like, and we're so used to not questioning, right? Or, just doing what we think we're supposed to do. And this is the point, finally, about 13 minutes, like I'm getting to the actual point of what I mean by do you live true? Because, no matter what is going on, you still have the power to live your life in your way. Like, and I'm using my job as an example because it seemed so oppressive, and I felt the only way out was to quit again, and my other organization wasn't as open to, so I tried to share similar ideas multiple times over the years that I was there. And, they just, try to explain to them, like, this is how my brain works. This is my personality, and these are my strengths. And I know I could do this and this, but it's like, oh, but your job category is this. I said, I know my job category is this, but actually I suck at this. I'm good at this. How about this instead? But where I can actually thrive, or where I can feel that I'm participating, even if it's work that, listen, it is what it is, right? I mean, even if it's work that you don't really necessarily care for, not everybody's going to have their favorite dream job. And that's why I do stuff like this. I really, this is what I like, honestly, doing this type of work, being a speaker, reaching out to people, putting on a little show, or whatever the case may be, and of course, what's the chances? I mean, anybody can make anything happen. I shouldn't say it that way. I mean, whatever you put into it, if you started a YouTube or started a business or whatever you're doing, just like even me with the real estate, I thought about that. Like, oh, should I just quit and just like dive in and just really, get out there and hustle? But I got to be honest with myself too with that. And again, going back to the lazy, like, I'm not going to go all day, hounding people on the phone and knocking on doors. And like, I'm not doing much of anything. To be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what to say. Since this world flipped upside down with COVID, enough's enough. That's all. We just can't do it anymore the way we used to do it. Don't you understand? It's not the same. It's over. Shut out of here. Get out of here and stop screaming. You're upsetting my audience. But that's really the truth. So, and what I'm realizing is, like, even today, as I've gone through, since I've had that conversation this week with my the bigger boss, it's like I just kind of took myself out. Like, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, this is the power you have, is what I'm saying, that we all have. I just blatantly took myself out of that situation. I don't like this. I don't like what I'm doing. And it's basically, I asked them if I'd rather not leave. If we can work something out, great. If not, I'll leave. I was basically, the cards were on the table. And I appreciate that they were gracious enough to feel that, they like having me on board and that they would like for me to continue, even if it is in a different capacity. So what I'm saying is, like, and I went about my business today. And matter of fact, of course, did some work, but took the time to do what I like to do every day. When I say to you, do you live true? What do you do for you in your time to do that? Like, I like going for a swim. I'm down here in Florida. It's very conducive to swimming, and I got the pools over here. So I go to the pool. I go to the pool, and I go to the pool every day. I take a break at some point in the day, and I go for a nice swim, and then I lay in the sun for a little bit. Some people might not like that, but whatever it is for you that you like, you got to find space to take. First of all, this is what I would say. I'm not telling you what you have to do. I shouldn't say you got to, whatever you do is what you do. If this message resonates, if you find any positive out of it, great. If I sound like just a jackass, that's great too. Whatever you feel, it's no big deal. But I would encourage people to take time to just, especially now with everything's going on. And I just think it's going to get even more so. I mean, it's just until it's not going to just flip and then everything's going to be hunky-dory again. We're going to have to go through a time of even more, I hate to use the word destruction, but destruction in a sense, and crumbling and falling away of what was. And, because we're never going to move forward and create that new without a little push, right? Because if everything was comfy, cozy, and kind of still was able to do the old way, then, people would just kind of gravitate towards that, the path of least resistance. It's just, human nature, right? So unless you're a special person that, really, whatever in your life particular sends you on a direction. But as a society and the way we function, until the carpet's pulled out from under us, like, maybe one day the grocery stores are short of food. Maybe one day the power does go out for like 2 weeks or something. Like the grids are shut down, or some flood happens, or I don't know, whatever, right? I just mean, like, until something like that actually happens, people don't really think about it. And then, like, my grandparents are a good example, like the way they always were so resourceful with the things that they had because of growing up during the Depression, and they saw that, right? And they're like, geez, I don't want to, have that happen again. So I'm going to always keep a certain level of preparedness. So until something happens where all of a sudden, the power's out and there's no food, and, you're going a month or whatever, and it's like, desperate times, until you go through that, right? You're not going to say, well, and get out of it. Then you're not going to be able to say, shit, I don't want that to happen again. And I'm going to make sure, I got a few things around. Maybe I got a generator. I got some, some food items put away in case of an emergency, or, whatever it is for you, some water, just things, flashlights, batteries, things that you don't necessarily even think about until the time comes that you need them, right? They're so common, right? It's like batteries. Who thinks like, batteries, I know people stock up batteries, but, even myself generally, like, I'm like, oh, all of a sudden, like, my remote control stops working on the TV and I'm scrambling through a drawer. Like, do I got a AA in here somewhere? But it doesn't hurt to go buy a few packs of batteries and store them in a cool, dry place so they last long for you, right? And, and have that type of stuff just in case these type of things happen. But, that's all said and done there with that. But more so than that, the main point is, of taking the time, as I said, first you have to evaluate, you don't have to. You don't have to. First, if you're interested, I would suggest to take the time to take stock on what your life is, what you do, what your day consists of, where are you spending your time. What items, that you're doing each day do you really like, that really resonate with you, that is feels good, and what parts of your day do you feel you're forcing yourself, to do something that doesn't resonate with you so much, and how much time are you spending in those aspects of your life compared to the aspects of your life that bring you joy and allow you to have a space of peace where you're able to, contribute and give back to others as well, right? So, you take the time to go through that and you make your adjustments, right? Because that's what we say here on Operation Status Quo. We observe the status quo, so you observe your life and you see what's going on. We flow with the quo because you have to get through each day and do what you have to do. And then we create our own flow of quo because that's the only way to go. So you mitigate the circumstances and find what's going to work for you. I was just really reflecting on this today when I was actually swimming in the pool of like, damn, I was ready to walk out the door. And if I didn't speak up, I probably either would have just quit or I'd still be stuck on the, phone or the Teams all day long with these goofy meetings that over and over and over and that go nowhere, and it just like drains my brain. I'm a task oriented person. I like to have a task. I like to work independently, and I just want to get things done and move on to the next thing. If I know what I have to get done in a day, like if I was a mechanic and I know I got 3 cars and these are the jobs and this is about how much time it takes to do each one, I mitigate my day, right? It's like, okay, I'll work on this, and then I can pop off over here for a little while, and then I come back. I think we have to let go of this whole structure of 9 to 5, and this is what you're supposed to be doing these hours of the day. Everything's so rushed and around, right? So we it's great, I think, to kind of space things out. Get up in the morning, go sit out back. If you drink coffee, I don't drink coffee, but maybe you drink coffee, go sit out back, or on your front porch or wherever, just, listen to the birds in the morning, sip your coffee, just take in the fresh air, pay attention to nature, watch the clouds. I don't know, right? Then you go do some work, maybe, you get online or you do something, or if you have a job that you're at an office, I understand it's different, but even if you're have a job and have an office, at an office, you go in, maybe you check your emails, and you start up your day a little bit, and then maybe take a break and go for a walk for, a half hour and just get out, maybe go sit by a tree. I don't know. I know it sounds crazy in a way, but it's too much of like what we have to accomplish all day, I personally, I have things I want to get done. I make lists, generally, and I as I go through the weeks, I check off things, I add things, and then I realize that, I still didn't get to this thing. I make a new list, and, you got to always keep up on, it is what it is. Like, I talk about A Course in Miracles a lot, which is a great platform, a great resource for living our lives. And you just got to not attach, give space, and really, this is your life. This is why I'm saying all this, because I'm so passionate about it for myself. And I've always felt guilty, my whole life, honestly, with these jobs and everything. I've always felt like less than in certain ways because, I don't quite fit into that, that little mold, that little petri dish of shit. Like, I just don't fit into it. So I've always felt like, whatever, they think I suck or I'm no good, or, not that I necessarily think that about myself, but in the world, it's kind of depressing in a way, that you want to contribute and you feel like you have a lot to give and a lot to offer. And yet, you're kind of, pushed down because like you're not just towing the line, and then I would think about the stuff I'm doing, and not to say, it's like, listen guys, like, like I'm just as capable, like just because I say it this way or have a different view, I don't know. I mean, how it is with business. Everybody's real serious and think they're doing something, so whatever, in those type of office environments, as it were. But I think it's important, to take time. Self-care is number one. I know everybody just wants to, I don't feel good today, I go to the doctor. The doctor says my numbers are okay, everything's fine, but you're not fine. It's not fine. I mean, you waiting until something goes wrong and then they give you a pill. And even if they give you a pill or whatever protocol, I mean, you're really still not fine, because if you were fine, you wouldn't need the pill, right? You wouldn't need to go to the doctor. Not to say, I know people want to go to the doctor for a checkup. I'm sure it's a good idea, I guess. But in general, if you, it's all facets of life, not just the time, for space of meditation or just relaxing, or but also the time to nurture yourself with food, with just with everything. It's up to you. That's why I believe in the comments down in the description box down there about being responsible and mindful, for yourself. And it really is true. It's like you're a living entity. The human body functions in a certain way. Obviously, I watch some of these commercials sometimes when they talk about eating fruits and vegetables, and they got the balance of nature or something. They got the pills, and they tell you you're supposed to eat 6 cups of fruits and vegetables a day, and I just can't do that. Think about, you can go to Wendy's and get like a triple baconator. So what do you mean you can't eat some strawberries? Like, what are you talking about? Like, it's just how our society is. Like, think about that, right? Like, we're just programmed to be like, oh, it's so hard to eat fruits and vegetables, but here's a bag of Doritos. It doesn't make sense. And if we were caring for ourselves in such a way, just imagine you start on the physical level, which is like the bottom level, and you're nurturing yourself with proper sleep, with exercise, with good food, then you take it up a notch to, more of your spiritual side, where you take time to meditate and be with breath and, those type of things. And it creates it creates the aura of health. Like, really being healthy, is just like a side effect of living well, and when you have to go to the doctor and get pills, it's a side effect of not living well. And again, everybody's life is different. I get it. This space, again, is a place to just try to encourage people, empower people to take charge for themselves, whatever that may be. It might not be in your life path on this particular incarnation to go that way. Whatever the case may be, there's no judgment. But what I'm saying is, how much I feel. I'm just speaking from my perspective, as I usually do, because what other perspective am I going to speak from? But anyway, and I just think about, when I look back and reflect over like my whole life, like, even though I wasn't so much into these thoughts directly in younger years, they always resonated with me and always kind of carried me, because I've always just kind of done what I wanted to do in a way, like not in an obstinate way, just like, this, I don't like this. It makes me feel like crap. I'm not doing it. I've quit tons of jobs and, all kinds of things. It's just, I'm not looking to, I know people like, I met somebody not too long ago that was telling me a story of how they met their current spouse. And, this person was still married while they were online looking for the next person, because they knew they were done with that person. And I'm thinking like, that kind of stuff. Like, we're so caught up in like, filling ourselves up and what we think we should have, or all these things that, society, and no one just takes this time like to just be on their own. I've never, I'm fine with being on my own overall. I'm not just talking about relationships. Friends, everything. I have friends, I have whatever. I can go out a lot more than I do, I guess, but like, I'm very comfortable with me and myself and my cat. No, but I just mean that in general of like, what are we chasing is what I'm saying. Like, what are we chasing? What are you chasing? What are you spending your time? What are you filling yourself up with? So that type of thought process. So do you live true? Do you? And, maybe you do, and maybe everything you're doing feels fine for you. But if you feel things are off, or you have questions, or you're not happy with certain things, I'm not telling you to, break up your family or quit your job or anything like that. I'm just saying, just find what is true for you and see how you can start incorporating those things into your life. I find, and I'm going to leave it at this, I think this is the most important point of all. The more that I live that way, the more the things that I need come into my life. That's just what I find. Even when I left my other job that I thought, oh my gosh, like, how can I leave this job after I've been there for so long and have so much time invested? And quite honestly, the job I have now, kind of popped up by accident. I had another job before this job, which I quit, and then I thought, oh, whatever. I don't know. I just quit because I couldn't take, anyway, long story short, a long story longer, that another one popped up that I didn't even expect. And of course I want to quit this one too. And that's why it's like, I know. I gotta be crazy, right? I gotta be crazy. How many jobs can you quit, for God's sake? Oh. No, I really do want to I'm always looking to move forward. I'm happy that the way things have turned out, and I know it, not to be overly religious, but I always say, just like my Aunt Rose, who passed away just about at 102 years old, she always used to say, "Oh, the dear Lord's been good to me. The dear Lord's been good to me." And the dear Lord has been good to me, and I am really appreciative. And I wake up every day, and the first thing I do is just think positive words and remember to be in gratitude and say thank you the first thing when I wake up for what's in my life and how it's going. And I don't know. I think the more you can live true to you and find that space, the more that is meant for you, will come into your life. Stop. We got to stop. Just like I say in my little write-up there, swimming upstream may work well for the salmon, but it sounds a little fishy to me. And, that's not a reflection of not working hard and not trying, because I know the salmon are really working hard to breed up there. But it's about, don't cause yourself distress and dismay by trying to go against what's natural for you, right? So whatever that is, and whatever has to fade away to get to that space, it will bring in the new, and would be, honestly, I feel better, and I speak that on my own self, better than what was before, so because you're living true to what you really want to do. And that's really what it's all about. When you align yourself with yourself and the universe, and it all kind of congeals in a nice way and brings peace and harmony. And, listen, life is life. We're going to have our ups and downs. It's never going to always be whatever. But at the same time, you can really have a fruitful life and just feel peaceful, even no matter what. Even though all this crazy crap's going on in the world, I feel peaceful. I really, really, really do. I don't worry about World War III. I don't worry about nukes. I don't worry about food shortages. I'm prepared for some things in some ways, and whatever happens, whatever the dear Lord decides, but seriously, if God decides this is where the next way of things are going to go, then you just go with that flow, and it's all for a higher good. And the more that you can go with that flow and that way, everything will just kind of come to fruition very naturally. So anyway, that's a little round of applause for I got an itch on my nose. I'm sorry. I'm not doing coke or anything. But I got an itch. Remember in Seinfeld when he was scratching the side of his nose like this, but it looked like I got to go like this. He was going like this. And then the girl saw him in the car and thought he was picking his nose. He goes, no pick. All right. Anyway, but I did have a little itch. So I thank you for being gracious enough to allow me to scratch my nose while I'm here. So anyway, I thank you guys so much for your time, as I always do. This is a place for you to participate and be here. So please drop your comments in the comments. Please like, subscribe, share. Send this out to your friends, your family, those you love, and of course, those you despise as well. We're just here to go with the flow of things and check out what's going on in life and have a good time and not get upset. And I'll always be your friend. Whether you find me here or you never find me, or you found me and you don't ever want to find me again, whatever the case may be, just know that this is always a space that you can come to. Even if you were here and you got mad and you left, and you come back, you can always come back. You just send me a message. My contact information is in the description box below. Be happy to have you on if you wanted to share some of your thoughts, skills, talents, or if you'd like to just drop some comments on subjects you'd like me to discuss. Happy to do that too, because I'm a man of the people. You're the people. I'm the people. Wouldn't you like to be a people too? We're the people. You and me are people. All right, that's it. I don't know what the hell's happening. Live true to you. Do it for yourself, ladies and gentlemen. You deserve it. Absolutely. Until tomorrow, Operation Status Quo, disengaged.